the chairperson of the Karnataka State Commission for Protection of Child's Rights. He is also the founder director of the NGO called ECHO, Empowerment of Children Human Rights Organization, and he is also a Juvenile Justice board member. So we here have Dr. Antony Sebastian today to answer a few questions from the Minute Miller. Good morning, sir. Welcome.
Good morning.
So my first question is that this commission was formed in July 2009 and it's 2021 already. So during this entire journey, how has it been juggling the roles of being the founder director of ECHO, as well as the Juvenile Justice board member and the chairperson of the commission? How has been your entire journey?
Yeah, it has been a long journey for me. But then I was a social worker. I am a social worker and working with children. And my journey started seeing the children's plight in the streets of Pune, especially the railway platforms. Children were victims of society, and they are forced to go into the streets and the railway platforms to end their life. So they had to struggle to live, and they had to eat with the dogs sometimes. And they were also tortured with the police, taking them out of the railway platforms to a place called Lonavala. And this was a routine life of children in Pune, and that was my first experience, where I intervened to stop police from taking out children from the railway platforms. As a student of law, I intervened there, and I was strong with the police. The police pushed us out, saying that which Madrasis had nothing to do with it. That was my first experience when I started working for the children. When the children are victims of different reasons, they cannot be treated like criminals. So as a student of law, this has provoked me and started looking at it. It has been a reflection point for me. So when I had to do I completed the LLB, I did some years of practice in the court. Then I was working in Chikmagalur for 4 years. Then I went to Holland for my master's. That's where I thought I must do a proper study about children from the street. When they get into crimes, what happens? So my research was to understand the problems of street children from a legal perspective. So I came back to India, I did my research in Bangalore, Pune, Calcutta and Bombay. Especially I went to the observation homes. Once the children are arrested and taken to the observation home, then what is the kind of legal remedies are given to them. So that was a study that I did. I went back to Poland and I presented my paper. The name of the title of the paper was An Echo of the Crime from the Streets of Bangalore, India. Understanding the problems of street children from a legal perspective. So I completed my master's in Bangalore. I started ECHO. This ECHO word comes from an echo of the crime in the streets of Bangalore. My title of my thesis. So ECHO I enlarged into empowerment of children and human rights organizations. ECHO would mean to resound the pains and sufferings of children to the society, to the lawmakers, to the executives, to the judiciary. This is the idea, the meaning of ECHO. So ECHO slowly grew up. It started in the year 2000. It is 21 years now. During this long journey, I have been also Juvenile Justice board member for 8 years. Juvenile Justice board member is the judiciary. So constitution is almost full judiciary, having a judge, judicial judge sitting and 2 members sitting. So each member has magistrate powers. So this in the year 2008, I started that, and 8 years, 2 terms ago. So this 8 years journey was to understand the specific question I had in my mind when I met children in the streets, railway platforms, where I had to encounter with police. So that's the time I understood, as a member of the magistrate of the board, I can do a lot. So I started looking at the children from a different perspective. They come to you as not criminals. They should not be treated or even viewed as criminals. They are victims of society, as I told you, and they are to be seen from that perspective. Their background has to be understood. They cannot be, treated as criminal and viewed, and because of that, children, most of the children later stage come to the jail because society doesn't accept them further. Even the family doesn't accept them anymore. Schools doesn't not accept them. In a situation like that, what is the way out? So this way is something different from normal way of looking at. So when I was the member of the Juvenile Justice Board, we started different forms of punishments for them. The final order, called judgments, civil conflict with the law. This is a title used. But in 1986 Act used juvenile delinquents. Delinquents means again a crime look attached to that. When in the year 2000 the law changed, that category is referred as a civil conflict with the law. So I was also part of rulemaking and Juvenile Justice Act making part of.
Okay.
So the entire exercise we tried our level best to understand them from a different perspective. They are human beings, but they happen to be born in a situation where they have forced to get into crimes, and their treatment should be something different from the adult criminal system. Therefore, they should be viewed and treated under the Juvenile Justice Act differently. So 2000 is the Act emerged. The same year I started my organization also. My journey was along with the law. From 1986 Act, completely repealed, started a new act where this view has been involved. So almost all through journey, I started from my journey in the railway platform background. I went back to the railway platform. I gathered children there. I started interacting with them. I asked them to come to our home here because they don't have bath. They don't usually have bath as you and me taking. They don't have clothes. They don't usually wash the clothes. They use it, throw it, and get new one. Or collect from that. So they have to learn that. So I used to bring them here. They should have bath here. They should have food here. They could sleep here. Then they go back to the station. Slowly, some children started joining this home, and they start going to schooling. So there are more than 30,000 children have come and gone from this institution. So which means some are got very high level. Some are attempting to do IAS now. Some are trying to do IPS. Some are already working in the banks. Some are working, teaching in the colleges. We have one, I should not say the name, but he is a professor in one of the leading college here, and we complete his PhD now. So there are so many children who have come and gone higher levels. There are so many children who have committed crimes, have come totally different and dignified ways. One is trying to be IAS now. So all through the journey, what I want to tell you that this sort of children have to view differently. If you or me happen to be born to that particular situation, I would have a bigger criminal than another. So we are smart enough to know. These children are very smart. So that is why when I became a Juvenile Justice Board member, a lot of drastic changes happened within our jurisdiction. I had 6 districts Juvenile Justice Board based in Bangalore. So all 6 districts travel also. So children used to be in the police lockups without anybody's knowledge, days together, which is against the law. So we take very hard steps towards police. We have summoned police, we have issued notice to police for cruelty to children. So there are a number of items like that. So from that journey, 8 years I had a lot of experience, and then further I was the advisory board member in the Ministry of Women and Child, Delhi. I was also one of the social audit, national social audit member in Delhi. After that I became the chairperson of the Karnataka State Commission. This is 3 years now, great experience. All that I had in my dreams, I was able to execute the state level, going to the very remote villages, schools, Anganwadis, childcare institutions, jails, and with power, with authority. Earlier we used to go and seek justice to different departments. Today signature is enough for me to execute that. So that way we have been able to make great sea changes in the realm of child rights. I am happy that I was able to do all this with the support of lot of people, the government, judiciary. Today judiciary also was in 40 different meetings. I am part of a High Court high-level meeting of nutritious food for the children and nobody especially. This is Governor. So
So all those areas we are able to make quite a lot of influences. We are able to execute items. We could monitor. The main work of commission is to monitor all the departments related to children. So this education. We directly monitor 3 acts. One is right to education, RTE, and is POXO, and the Juvenile Justice Act. Then Supreme Court has directed us to monitor child marriage, child trafficking, child labor. So all these section areas we have to monitor, and we are the only authority to monitor the state. So we order, it's a court also, under section 14, it is having all powers of the civil court. So we connect with the monitoring authority and court powers. You can even summon anybody. You can ensure the attendance of these people anytime to court. So therefore I always have greater values. So I just completed visiting 31 districts, public hearing. So this is we released this book, public hearing, listen to the voice of children. So we interacted with the children from different sections and we heard their complaints. We converted the complaints as cases. We gave number to them. So that any person who is respondent has to appear before us under section 13 and 14 of the CPC Act. So that way we have been able to do a quite lot, which I started from the railway platform.
Now, you have said that these children are coming from a marginalised or underprivileged section. Now, having said that, these children have very different background from what the privileged children have. So, what is being done in terms of the mental health and in terms of education? Because I'm sure their mental health is very different and how we view things also very different. And you said they're very smart enough, but they don't have the right guidance to it. Speaking about them, how are they being guided or what is being done for their mental health and for education?
So when you talk about children general, we are talking children. So we have high profile schools, medium profile schools, lower schools, government schools. All these areas, different systems are there. In different level, different way it is being addressed to. So mental health is one of the most important theme which need to be looked into very seriously. But that is not happening. In the high profile schools, as I told you, may be there, the counselors and so on. When you come to the question of the lower and the government school, that is not in place. So it is important that, just like other physical health, mental health also has to be understood same level. Maybe it's kind of new idea or new thing into the education system, but it has to come in, actively. It should be looked into by the officers, by the authorities, and we need to bring this system in place, irrespective of the different levels of schools, education. Yeah.
So, what is the level of response from children themselves? How are they responding to all the programs and the events that's happening for the children? So, are they very rebellious? Are they very responding to it?
See, as I told you, I just completed interaction with listening to the voice of children. Yeah. This is how the public hearing. We went to schools, we visit schools, we visit to Anganwadis, we visit childcare institutions of government and non-government. All these places, what we see, children were almost silent. I mean, children were voiceless, I would say. Their voices are not heard properly. Especially the lower government schools and also the government childcare institutions and all that. There is a system which is basically providing the basic food, shelter, clothing. But we are looking at different way. It is not a charity that government has to do. It is their duty bound to do. Each and every department work for the children and they are duty bound. Therefore, it is not charity way. The same way, other side, children have the right to receive this. This is a human right. Child rights are human rights. Human rights, child rights also. So therefore, it's the right perspective, the right to receive all this in the society. And government has to do that. Whether it is government or non-government, every child is a child, has to look into that child and his rights are respected. So therefore, when you got children, they seems to be helpless. So one child was asking me, we have listened to so many officers like you.
What are you going to do? Are you going to do the same thing? And I told him, we are not going to do the same thing. We function as a court. Your case is heard. Tomorrow we'll call the responsible officers to our office and question them, make sure things happen to you. Whatever question you have today, that will be listened and we will have everything to do for us. So children are happy with our interventions. And that's should a commission should be doing. Commission should listen, commission should act, do justice to children today, not for tomorrow. Today or today.
Now, with the Commission's main mission to protect and support children and their rights irrespective of caste, gender, religion, how has the support of the government, of the Karnataka government been? How are they actively responding or passively responding to the activities of the Commission?
See, as I told you, each section has each department. For example, scheduled caste, scheduled tribes. This department for that. Within the Juvenile Development, there are different, like Anganwadi is taken care by different department. Scheduled caste, scheduled tribe children are those sectors taking care of some children. Child care institutions are there, where children or orphans or single parents are living there. Children who commit offences, observation homes are there. So there are different levels of child care institutions in the state. And each one is taken care of in different departments. The mainstream we look at is in the schools. That's where the people are having to be on this. Look at scheduled tribes and scheduled caste, Adivasis in the forest areas. There's nothing much happening. All your online education that happened in the mainstream didn't happen with children who are in the tribal areas. They don't have a electrical connection sometimes. There is no phone. They don't have mobile. So there is a question of online education. So they were all complaining when the mainstream had the education, the exams and all that, they had to face exams without any classes. And their needs are not sufficiently taken care of by the departments, by the government. So we are going to have an exclusive public hearing for the tribal children in Mysore. So they could be calling 3 districts. It's going to be a big program. It's going to be, we are trying to bring out their problems to the mainstream. So that will happen. We have 56 categories of scheduled tribes in Bangalore, in Canada. Bringing those children together, listening to them will have great impact, even the planning of the program. So first of all, you must listen to children, whoever may be, whichever category, irrespective of the religion, irrespective of the place they come from, irrespective of the background, whether they are in the forest or not in the forest, they are children, they have rights. So that is an area not much done by the government.
So, and you spoke about online education. On that lines, how has the pandemic in general affected the working of the Commission, this organization of ECHO, as well as the lives of children? How has children, those juvenile backgrounds or those from the scheduled tribes, scheduled castes, you did say about the online education, but other than that, how has the pandemic in general, in all aspects?
See, yeah, during the pandemic, even pandemic goes on, during this time, there are a lot of increased number of child marriages. Child labor has increased. Trafficking has increased. So child sector, lot of things are happening. For example, the district, Bellary district, where one village, single village, we had 28 cases of child marriages. And that is not recorded. And that is not, no FIR is filed. So this is going to be a big issue. We have taken some more case on this. And we have formed a team, task force to encourage with that. So this is one example. Other example, child labors are increased. Parents have lost job. Some children have lost their parents because of COVID. And children have no other way than going to work. To support families, support the society. So those areas has been increasing that. Similarly, children are also, infected. So because of not given vaccination to children. That's also an area which has been told immediately. The second wave that we are talking about the new one, once it comes, perhaps again we may go back to a similar situation. So it's important that the departments already prepare themselves to prevent further disaster happening.
So has the vaccination reached to the all the ends of children in the society?
Not yet.
Okay. Not even first dose.
No.
And since you had said that there are fast-track courts now happening, that immediate remedies are given for these children. So, is there any action going to be taken for those who are yet to take vaccination and those are not giving?
So one of the solutions to all this is vaccination. Vaccination to all categories, including children. And of course, the next wave that's forecasted, we don't know the implications of it. So what we can do right now is only thinking of vaccination, and that has to be done in a kind of it's like compulsory. It should be made compulsory that every sector of the society is taking that. Only then, to a certain extent, we can prevent things happening.
And lastly, one question I would like to ask you is that you did say that one incident is what that drew you to work for the children. But what essentially has drawn you working for the children essentially? Like, what is that? Your first point of focus was the children of the railway stations. But what is it essentially drawn you to those children?
What happens? We have seen people working for different sectors, human rights. We have seen people working for women, people working in general. What is that special I can do? I always think. What is innovation we can look at? So my experience with railway, Pune, children in the railway station Pune, I thought there is nobody working for them. Our children when they are committing an offence, then everybody leaves them, including parents. And we treat them like a criminal. A stigma attached to the crime, and the children commit that, everyone leaves them. That's an area we need to do. Because there is nobody else otherwise. Perhaps the only organization to start with. Even today, the work for children get to the crimes, who commit offences, bring them as normal children and bring them to normal citizens and reform them. I don't call it. They were not formed. So what is reformation? We said rehabilitate. They are in rehabilitation. How to So all has to be cancelled. You form them first. So they all call reform them, rehabilitate, reintegrate. First of all, these three words that are used in the law is not correct words. You are not formed him. As a child, as a citizen, he has got all the right to do that, you receive that. But primarily you are not formed. So reformation is not right word. They should be formed well. Then they mainstream them. The society has a responsibility there. A state is representing the society. State is receiving the corrections of tax and so on. So the financially also state has to work.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your time and being a wonderful guest. So I'm sure all the insights that he has shared has been very much valuable to each one of us. So this is Deepthi Sabu signing off with the Minute Mirror. Thank you.